Hello everybody, my name is HGBF and I'm here with another unboxing video, primarily because I didn't receive almost any feedback on my last one on whether or not this is entertaining or not, so I figured might as well do another one, just to see if this is actually entertaining. So this is the R35 Rambaral's suit, or Mr. Ral from Gundam Build Fighters, one of my more favorite designs, not only because it's a Dom, but because it's blue, and I'm a huge fan of blue Xeon suits and a huge fan of Doms. So I'm really actually quite excited to get into this kit. So let's start off with this. Alright, right off the bat, it does worry me that there's these large blue stickers. These gray pieces, I'm not really too surprised that those are there. It looks like those will probably be for the legs or waist units, or possibly the shields. And then obviously the mono eye. Some nice blue runners. Interesting that the commander's antenna for the Dom is a separate piece. I was figuring that they would mold that in one large piece. This very I really like this this dark navy blue. Looks like this is primarily for the shield parts and the arms. Leg units, head unit, and the clear piece for the forward part of the eye. So probably looks like these heads are from the original Dom suits. My guess would be the Rick Dom 2, but I won't know until I'm finished with the kit and I'm able to compare those suits, which I'll likely do in the review. Some gray pieces. It looks like this is a second runner. Yeah, C2. The reason I can tell that is because it's just one singular foot unit, and so I'm assuming a lot of this stuff is going to be for the legs and arms. This will probably be for the shield weapon systems. Then B1, interestingly enough, which looks like it's some hands and parts to the waist unit. I think that's part of the foot, but I'm not exactly sure. So this is cool. Alright, so then this is B2, so yeah, the rest of the foot unit stuff and more parts too, what I assume are the legs, a white runner, and the polycaps, which I'm actually interested that they included a white runner for all the white pieces, and I'm glad that they did not cheap out and make them gray or something like that. And then the last runner, which is solid gray, some classic Dom pieces. So it looks like the majority of this is based off of the original Rick Dom / Dom unit, which doesn't surprise me too much, as the Rick Doms were only seen in 0083 and weren't the more popular suits. So yeah, a little bit of information about the suit. Some painting guides. Yep, it is based off of the original Dom suits, or yeah, it is based off the original Dom suits, and a little bit about the goof. So it's a combination of those two suits, which is an interesting concept for this kit, and it tells you how to do the coloring for these thrusters. It wants you to do silver with a copper look, which is interesting. I may have to order the actual Gundam markers to do that. That looks rather nice. The runner, so let's see if there's any parts that we're definitely not using. No, it looks like we're using just about every single part, which is interesting that they're not skipping out on some of the original or the original Dom parts. So even see one with some of these older chest piece parts. Those are even going to be used. So that's an interesting thing. Looks like it's just some extra stuff on top of it, I guess. And for weapon systems and extra boosters, I guess. This is some interesting weaponry for this kit. Wasn't really expecting this kind of weapon. I guess it also has some of these subarm type things. Interesting. Well, I guess these are all sort of subarms, which is an interesting concept for the suits. Not too many Xeon suits have subarms or things similar to that, so obviously let's get into firstly this E runner, or this C1 runner, my bad. This is classic DOM parts, so it's likely going to be labeled after the DOM/Rick Dom stuff for that kit, which I'm very tempted to order because it is one of the nicer suits, in my opinion, from Xeon. Just after the Gelgoog. So it comes with parts to the head, this unique to the DOM rotating eye joint that you clip in and it rotates on its own, giving it the eye a lot more maneuverability without completely changing the look of the kit. One of the things that the Rick Dom kit did not do very well, in my opinion. Boosters, headpieces, these chest pieces with this unique look, and I'm curious on whether or not that'll be accessible even with all its gear on that sort of circular device. But nonetheless, these runners are, despite being old, still kind of looking very nice. One of my favorite things about favorite parts about Gundam Build Fighters is the customization of some of these older kits and bringing back these suits and designs that were kind of abandoned for a long time and weren't very popular. It's one of my favorite things about Season 1, and Season 2 didn't really do as much of a job, in my opinion. It was focused primarily on some of the newer suits, which I'm not a huge fan of. The fact that it did that. So, B2, this runner, I'll go into a little bit more detail with the B1. Polycaps, which are 002, this kind of generalized polycap system that's been used for a lot of these newer kits. Obviously, I think all these polycaps are going to be used for this kit, from what I can tell. Yeah, every single one of these polycaps, which isn't too common with a lot of kits. Most of them leave off one or two polycaps, usually some of these 8 pieces or things like that, or don't end up using both of the PC4. But I'm really glad that this is a kit that uses all of them, which means I can recycle that runner. Runner F, which is these white pieces, these tubing, that's reminiscent of the Goof/Zaku's, that is part of this whole customization over this entire kit, which is basically a Zaku and a Dom and a Goof mixed together in sort of this cool hybrid type suit, probably with some other aspects of some of the older Xeon kits from the past. Next we have Runner A and Runner G, which is just this clear piece for the eye that just goes over the headpiece to give it a nice finished look and have that mono eye sunken in. Some more of these darker parts for the head, feet, and waist unit. I believe there's also some parts for the shoulders, but I'm not exactly 100% sure about that, as a lot of these are some unique shapes that can be for either some of the newer parts or not. I'm not exactly sure, but I think this entire runner is from the original Dom kit, from what I can tell. or rather the Dom slash Rick Dom's kit, since that for the HGUC run. Not exactly sure what number that was, but it is one of those kits that's kind of hard to find for a decent price. Speaking of, I purchased this specific kit while I was in Chicago, as have my I think all my time lapses since the New Year's began been. I just put in my order with HobbyLink Japan for my next set of kits, primarily some of the Iron-Blooded Orphans, since I'm really enjoying that show and those kits. So, C2, you can see these mirrored stuff. Again, this is highly likely one of the kits that's going to be a part of the using a lot of the same pieces for the Dom. I actually do think these are specifically molded because of these parts, but the rest of this runner, especially this part, I believe is from the original Dom. So that's that. And then B1, which I'll get into a little bit more detail than the B2 unit, which I opened earlier. Some of the classic hand units parts with the hand covers and an open hand, which I'm excited they included that, especially despite not actually having a real need for that, especially because of its weapon systems. It's a classic callback to a lot of the Zeon suits, especially the Goof and the Dom both having these open hands, and I believe the Gelgoogs did as well. But I'm not sure about the Zaku and Zaku 2 units. So these feet have some really nice detail that will look really nice panel lines, some of these lines across the sides. So I'd highly recommend this kit. It has some very nice details all around some of these pieces. Unfortunately, they don't show up too well on camera. So, again, really surprised in this D-Runner that this, which is all custom for this kit, which should be fairly obvious as it's a lot of unique parts. I'm surprised that this commander's antenna wasn't molded in one piece with the sort of eye cap for the head. But I'm actually glad that it's like that, because it gives a little bit more... I'm trying to think of the word. It makes it a little bit easier for you to panel line both of these pieces, even though there's not much to panel line on them. It gives it really makes it a lot more easy to, if you were doing this as a custom, getting this and the original Dom and making some sort of hybrid kit, makes it a little bit more easy to do some recolorings, which is nice. And then runner E, this last runner, which is the primary runner for a lot of these chest and the outer pieces for the Dom R35. So looks like it's a lot of these connecting pieces and outside pieces for the thrusters and shield parts. Next, I'm just going to briefly look at these stickers. It looks like they're primarily for the shields. Yeah, it looks like they're primarily going to be for the shields. So I may end up painting those. I haven't decided, and I don't know if I actually have a Gundam marker that's this right color, but it looks like these are for the shields. And take a look to see if they're for what these stickers 4 and 3 are for in this manual. These sticker 6 pieces are for the waist skirt, which is again a classic callback to that original Dom kit. The mono eye, obviously, as is a typical piece in most Gundam kits, and it looks like these 3 and 4 are actually for the backpack unit, which is surprising as the backpack typically doesn't get a ton of sticker attention in past details. It looks like this runner 5, or this sticker 5, may not be used at all, and if it is, I think it might be for the arms, but I'm not exactly sure. No, it is also for the backpack, which is interesting that the majority of these stickers aren't, even though these two large sections take up the most. They're only for the shields, and there are only 2 stickers, whereas 4 of these stickers actually end up going to the backpack unit, which I'm actually glad that the backpack is getting a little bit more looked at than most of the time backpack units are given in most kits. A lot of times you'll see a backpack just kind of get not as much attention as the primary source of the overall suit or kit that you're building, simply because you tend not to display the back towards the front unless you're a store, in which case you typically get in some nice builder who knows how to paint and something like that and make it look nice and fancy when you're in Japan. So typically you won't get a lot of attention to detail on some of these backpack units, and so it's nice to see a kit get that sort of treatment. Again, I have a few issues with some of the choices with this kit, but I won't be able to see if they don't pan out until it's actually built, which makes sense. Most of the time you'll see an issue like, well, what is this chest piece going to look like when it's completely done? Is it going to look nice, or is it going to end up looking like a sloppy extra armor plating on a suit? And unfortunately, you won't be able to tell the answer to that until the suit is built. So again, a lot of detail, a lot of time and effort is actually going into this kit. On the side, I didn't show, it has a lot more information about these weapons, and I guess, yeah, it does have these type of subarm weapon systems. And these boosters look like they have a lot more maneuverability than I initially thought, personally. And this head unit is just the classic Dom head, which I'll show off in the review and likely show alongside of both the Rick Dom 2 and the Char's Rick Dom that I've built, both on this channel. I'll likely put links in the description to both of those kits, as this will not be the first Dom suit that I've built. And I'm excited to see how this compares next to those two. If you'd like to see some more review type stuff on my channel and unboxings like this, go ahead and let me know. I'd love to do more stuff like this, and I'd like to get a lot more into some of the older Xeon kits if I can get my hands on them for decent pricing. Again, I've mentioned this probably several times in this video alone, but if you are in Chicago, I'd recommend checking out Nakama Toys. I'm not sponsored by them, but I really enjoy their shop, and they're really nice people. They know what they're talking about with Gundam for the most part, and they have decently competitive prices compared to Amazon and HGBF Japan. I've saved several dollars every single time I go there from kits just checking on Amazon, and recently I checked HobbyLink, and a lot of these kits are rather pricey on HobbyLink Japan compared to what prices I got them for in Chicago. So if you're ever there, check them out. I believe they do have a website, but I'm excited to get into this kit specifically, especially because Doms hold a special place in my heart, as they're one of the first suits in Mobile Suit Gundam that I thoroughly enjoyed seeing in combat, despite the fact that they have only one collective on-screen kill, and it's not even a mobile suit. Despite all that, the black tri-stars actually sold me in liking the design of the Doms. The stereotypical southern accents that they used in the English dub were downright hilarious, and still bring a tear to my eye when I hear people try to mimic them, or even just see clips of that show. If you haven't seen Mobile Suit Gundam or any of these affiliate titles, I first off question why you're watching my videos, and second, I would highly recommend you check them out on kissanime.com. It has one of the largest selections of anime, and has a huge selection of Mobile Suit Gundam alone. Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans is reaching the close of its first season and has been greenlighted for a second season. I'm highly excited for the show, and it's touching a lot of things that I wasn't expecting a show as that to actually touch on, but Gundam's never one to not surprise, and I'd recommend checking out Gundam Build Fighters. The entirety of it's on YouTube, officially licensed by Bandai and Sunrise. So I'd highly recommend you check out not only those shows, but pretty much every single Gundam affiliated show. And check out the time-lapse builds of the RX-78-3/Char's Rick Dom and the Rick Dom Mark II.